Turn it back over to Meredith. Yay.
Great. Fantastic. Well, I thank you so much for that welcome and for, I love this. This is a wonderful group to get together tonight. And I appreciate you taking the time to really share your dinner table with us. This is so different when we started looking at how are we going to celebrate stewardship and how are we going to make this work. Typically right now we would be right behind us where we are right now. You can't see the fellowship hall, but we would be right behind us right now. We'd be sharing a yummy dinner, hugging each other's necks, and really just enjoying the sense of community that we typically share at a celebration dinner like this. And, obviously that can't happen right now, not in the same way. But I do love the connection that we have to be able to do this virtually. So thank you for joining us tonight, because I do feel like despite the many ways that our world has radically changed in the last few months, the one thing that really has been constant and has stayed the same is our church and our church family, and that really is important. That's really what we are here to celebrate tonight, and kind of the future of our church as well. So although we are, apart physically, I do think that I can probably speak for everybody on this call that although we do in some ways feel physically isolated, I think that this time and season of our world and here in our church really has reminded us of how important the connection and the fellowship and the community that we really share as St. James. And that is what we really want to talk about and celebrate and think about tonight. And I really applaud our church leaders. I'm looking at Marion here, and Lee and Tommy and all of our vestry and everyone, and so many among you who have found ways to address this unique situation with feelings of connection. We have everything from live streaming services, great sound or not, we have wonderful live streaming services, and we have everything from that to front yard Eucharist. So the creativity and the effort, the children's ministry, all those who have made this challenging time so much easier and allowed us to really feel a connection despite the physical separation. We really appreciate that. And again, we thank you. But I think as we look on how different the world is right now, I think we also look at where we are as a church. This is such an exciting time for us. We are undergoing a search right now for a permanent rector. We want to do everything that I know everybody on this meeting and on this call we want to do what is best to set our church up for future success. And those on this call have been so critical to helping our church in the past, and we hope that you will join us in the future. So we really want to focus on the good that is to come, the good that has come of this situation, and the good that will come of the current journey that we have as a church. And because we are in a season of growth with our church, I feel like we need a drum roll or something, but we have decided that this year our stewardship themes, you'll hear it throughout this stewardship season, is giving and growing in grace. And so we really, I think, can all identify to the season of growth that we're in, the giving and the way that we can have grown as a church. We'll hear that tonight, and then the ways that we will grow in the future. And that's really inspired by a verse from 1 Peter 4:10. It says that each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. And I just feel like we have to pause and say, and we'll hear more from some of our fellow parishioners, but we have seen, I know everybody in the church has seen us joyfully use the gifts that God has given us in grace. We have all served one another, not just during this time, but we have served one another throughout the years. We have served our greater community. I was reminded recently, I watched the clip again recently, many of you may have seen, I think it was the Today Show or maybe Good Morning America, where Bishop Curry came on and talked about how we have served one another through this pandemic, through the feeling of divide and the efforts that we make as a country and we make as a church to unite and seek equal justice for all in our community. When we wear masks, we're serving one another, we're loving one another. And so I think it's that spirit of how we can all work together and grow and give and be good stewards of God's grace to us and use whatever gifts, whatever talents, whatever we have, whatever resources to help each other and to help others. And when it comes to the church of the work, as you know, when we look at what the church does as a body, a key part of that really is providing steadfast and future support. And to be successful and serve our community, we do have to have the support of each one in our church, each one on this call, and that will allow us to grow and serve our community. So our stewardship team, we are hard at work asking our fellow parishioners to kind of give us some context and background about why you chose St. James. What is your why? Why do you keep coming to St. James year after year, week after week, even whether that's virtual or not? What gifts has God given you? And so we are putting together a series of videos and testimonials that we'll use throughout the stewardship season. But the hope is that with each time that we reach out to you with a message of what St. James means to me as an individual or as a family, that it'll cause you to really reflect on what St. James means to you. We really want you to feel this sense of community even when we are physically separated. And so we will be creative this year in reminding us of how important it is as members of this church to give of not only our time and our talents, but also our treasures, and how we will all be richly blessed by being faithful stewards of God's grace. So without further ado, I want you to hear from your fellow church members, not from me, about what St. James means. I think it's wonderful to be able to pause in this time and hear from each other about what St. James means to each of us. And so I'm going to turn it over to what I would have to consider the face of St. James, those that all on this call know, Kathy and Joe Myers. Kathy and Joe have been long-standing fixtures in this church. I can't think of a better word other than fixtures in this church. They've literally done it all. Top to bottom in the church, they have graciously agreed to share their experience here at St. James to remind you of the community that we have and what giving of your time, your talents, and your treasures really can mean to our church and to our greater community. So I'm going to turn it over to Kathy and Joe.
You're going to have to unmute.
Yes.
Has that got it?
Yes.
Okay. Ladies first, or it doesn't matter. Kathy and Joe Myers here. Let's see. Where did I start? First of all, we've been married 51 years come September. We have a daughter, Christine, who's married and lives in Crystal Springs and teaches at the Spectrum School and teaches kids with autism. So very, very special lady there to Kathy and I. We have a little puppy named Roby, who I got a little over a year ago. And Kathy's mom lives with us, who's 91, and we take care of her. So when Meredith asked me to talk about what keeps me coming back to St. James and how I spend and why I spend my time and my talents and treasures here, I just start with this. First of all, I've been hanging around St. James for about 64 years. I know I don't look that old, but I have. I was confirmed and baptized here 55 years ago. It's the only church I ever belonged to. I started coming first here because a friend, Paul Acost, invited me, and immediately felt a part of this church. Began in EYC. Back then we had no youth directors, and a couple of people by the name of Al and Mary Hopton were our EYC sponsors. They made me feel welcome here, and we had a curate at the time, Jack Biggers, and he encouraged me. He taught me, he took me through confirmation lessons. I was baptized and confirmed in the little chapel of St. Mary. I remember my first communion. I had never taken communion until I came to St. James and joined the church. While I was inside the church and the liturgy just came alive, the music, the peacefulness, St. James felt like I had always imagined a church to be. I just couldn't get enough. EYC got me started. Our youth is our future. And I'm thankful that we make our youth program a priority. And I welcome our new youth director. EYC helped me build a foundation, and it made me to be able to participate. I continued to come to St. James throughout junior high school and high school. And after I graduated from high school, I joined the Marine Corps Reserve. I was on active duty for 6 months. Now I returned home, met Miss Kathy. We married and we had a child. We took a sabbatical from the church, but always was encouraged by the Hoptons and others to get back involved, and that we were always welcome. So we jumped back in and we became EYC sponsors, the place where I started out, along with 2 other couples, and really got involved. We taught Sunday school, 5-year-old kindergarten. We taught 5th grade, 9th grade, always wanting to give back. Participated in vacation church school, working and meeting new people. I ushered for a long time, greeting people as I ushered to make people feel welcome to our church, the way that I have always felt welcomed. Kathy and I went to Cursillo number 28 in the early 70s, and we participated in old Ultras. We've served on several Cursillo staffs, again, growing with each new program we participated in. Kathy and I were sponsors for the first happening at St. James a long time ago. Again, working with our youth that we really enjoyed. During this time, I invited my youngest brother, Dixon, to St. James. He hadn't been baptized and he hadn't been confirmed. He didn't really go to church. But anyway, he met Anwin Hawkins, an Episcopal priest, and they were married. She became the assistant chaplain at Swanee, and Dixon runs outreach. Dixon was at St. James at the time that we redid the small chapel, St. Mary's Chapel. He was the contractor that did that. And that's where I was baptized many, many years ago. Kathy and I renewed our wedding vows there a couple of times. And so that all these places in St. James that I'm pointing out are just real special places to us. I invited my mother to come. She was my next candidate. And she came, and yes, she got confirmed and joined the church. And so by the seed that God planted, it multiplied many, many times when I first started to St. James. Over the years, or years later, my mother became ill and had to be hospitalized. I'll always remember Susan Watkins and Pat Crockett, who were Eucharistic visitors, and they visited us in the hospital at St. Dominic on a Sunday. And they brought communion to us. They were, like I say, Eucharistic visitors. And I didn't know that my mom wouldn't make it through the night, so I have that memory of them bringing communion to us for her last communion. My mom died or became real ill during the night, and I called David Elliott at 4:30 that morning. He came right over and gave her last rites. She died that morning at 7:30, but that meant so much to me that I can remember that time with my mother, with David there, of course, and then having that last communion with her. It made me want to do the same thing for other people. So I became a Eucharistic visitor, chalice bearer, taking the Holy Sacrament to the sick and to the shut-in, the elderly, those who just can't come to church. It's a very important ministry for me, and I sure miss it during this time of this pandemic, and I can't wait to get started back. I've attended 4 years of EFM. In fact, Dad was our moderator. That's what we call you. Anyway, we participated in 4-year groups, meeting, getting to know people. I've served on the vestry 3 different times over the 55 years I've been at St. James. In outreach, I've worked with Billy Brumfield House for the past 28 years. It's part of Stewart. feeding them every fourth Wednesday of each month, and providing other things for them that they need in clothes or over-the-counter items that they might need. I retired about 9 years ago, and I work in the office as a volunteer. I get to work with Judy and Kathy and Jan every Tuesday morning. I can't wait till we get that started back. And for every December for the last 15 years, I was Santa Claus. And I worked the Stewardship Christmas party. I've had everybody, when you have 400 people or 250, 300 people sit on your knee and see those folks, it just was a wonderful, wonderful thing that I've done for a long time. But all the programs, committees I've served on and still serve on, I do because I love this church. I love my St. James family. I love what I do. I've lived in Madison for 42 years, and there are other Episcopal churches, but that are closer, but they're no St. James. They're not St. James. So that's kind of my story, and that's why I try to do and give as much as I can to our church. Thank you.
Okay, I was baptized in 76. I've been at St. James 44 years. Everything that is healthy grows, and by definition, growth requires change. Over those 44 years, I've seen lots of growth and change. St. James has a very special spirit. St. James is family. I've learned to celebrate from our differences, varying perspectives, personalities, and experiences. St. James has taught me authentic love and relationship, to do the hard work of resolving conflict and building unity. The church is the body of Christ. Oops. Made in the image of God. It has helped me be whole, more like Christ, and hopefully a better person or better version of me in the world. The church needs me, and I need the church. I've learned love, forgiveness, grace, freedom under God, a high sense of worth for each and every person. I love the liturgy, the music, the Eucharist, the order of the services, the seasons, the colors, the smells. My favorite programs have been ECW President, the services on the Labyrinth, Foyer Group, Eucharistic Companion, 4 years of EFM with Mentor Thad, Altar Guild, Gardening with Kathy Kirchmeyer, Office Volunteer with Judy, Jan, and Kathy, Renewing Our Wedding Vows in the Chapel of St. Mary. I love the season of Lent with the Altar of Repose that's held in the chapel also. I've done the Dolly Moyer Blanket Fund and helped with Stewardship Christmas Party. I try to remember that all things come from the Lord. I'm thankful I can hold His blessings joyfully and with open hands and give generously back.
Hey,
That's it.
that's it. Cut me off now.
Take me away.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing.
you're most welcome.
We are so appreciative of that. I can't think of a better way to describe what St. James. Thank you for taking the time to share what it means to you, but I know that reminds all of us what is so special about our church. And so thank you so much for taking that time. We really appreciate it. Now, we also have Guy and Leanne Wilkins here with us tonight, and we are so thankful to hear from them. They are also longtime members of the church and have been very active in our catechesis program and our youth program. Guy is, I would dare say, one of the very best MCs, or he works a microphone like nobody's business. We all know that at our Halloween carnivals, our fall carnivals, any event that involves children and organization, he can stand up there and just own the room. So we appreciate the many talents that they bring to the table. And so I'm going to turn it over to them to share their version or vision of St. James, what it means to them.
Y'all are muted.
Okay. I'm waiting on Guy. Hey everyone, it's so great to see all of you tonight. We have really missed our St. James family so much, and we're so excited to get to be here with you tonight. Even if it is virtually, it's still special to see everyone, to be in the church is really exciting for us. And follow Joe and Kathy, I feel very proud to do that. Joe was, he led our confirmation class years ago, and they always and they've been in our 4 years groups and hold a special place in our heart. And so just, we're excited to be here and tell you why we love St. James.
Yeah, so Joe and Kathy, thank you for, I knew it was going to be a tough job following Santa Claus when Meredith on this. I just didn't know how tough it was. Our story with St. James, we start with the year 2020, and this is a special year for Leanne and I because this was our 20-year wedding anniversary, and this was also our 10-year anniversary for being members of St. James.
Yes, I grew up Catholic, and Guy grew up at First Baptist downtown, and we spent the first 10 years of our marriage at the Catholic Church, and we both realized we wanted to find some place. We had our little boy at that time, Clayton, who's now 15. He was little. We wanted to find some place that had an outstanding children's ministry and program that was very important to us. And I had trained under Mary Nell for 8 months to serve as a catechist in the Catholic Church. So when we talked about we were going to do this great Jackson Church tour of 2010 to figure out where we belonged, St. James was at the top of my list because Mary Nell at the Good Shepherd.
So our first visit to St. James was the Sunday before Ash Wednesday. This was 10 plus years ago. And leaving that service, we bumped into Tommy Shepherd, who I did not know, but Leanne knew previously from work, and introduced us to Christopher Powell, who was the rector at the time. So Christopher was very welcoming and immediately invited us to the Shrove Tuesday party that was going to be that following Tuesday. So we accepted, not knowing what we were going to walk into that night. We came into the Shrove Tuesday party. We were supposed to meet some friends. I think we must have beat them there that night because they weren't anywhere to be found. But we ran into just a lovely, welcoming family of St. James parishioners. And it was just not the stuffy church party that I was maybe expecting. Super laid back, lots of great food. There was some homebrew on the back porch. I just knew I was right at home at that point. So we were back the next Sunday for our second visit, which was Ash Wednesday, and we never left.
And then, as I said, we were looking for a place to bring Clayton and to raise him. And I'll never forget that first year we were here. We, like you guys said, we started with Lent and Easter, the first Halloween party we ever went to. And it was like, for me, it was like something out of a movie. The kids were running around in costumes, parents visiting in rocking chairs on the porch, great decorations. Everyone was a beautiful night. There were fortune tellers. It was amazing. And I remember thinking between with fellowship and children's ministry and fun parties like this and the catechesis of the Good Shepherd program, which I was already so familiar with, and Mary Nell, who I just felt so strongly about. I knew that we were in the right place, and this is going to be, an amazing place for us to raise our family, and it would be, a few years later that we would welcome our second child, our daughter Sally, and she would make her appearance during Holy Week, and Shannon and Minka both, it was Wednesday of Holy Week, both. Shannon came, I think, on Wednesday when she was born, and Minka came back the next morning on Thursday, and I felt so bad because this Holy Week, and I was like, it's like y'all's Super Bowl week. You can't come to the hospital, and they were like, we wouldn't be anywhere else. And that I will, I know that I will remember that always.
I will definitely remember that. So we rolled into confirmation class with Shannon Manning, and I'll never forget Joe Myers being one of our leaders, along with Ellen and Gibb Ford, who were our confirmation partners and sponsors. So that was fantastic. And then I'll tell you, Shannon talked us into joining Foyers, and what a blessing that has been. Foyers, I'm not really sure we even knew what we were signing up for, actually. So she convinced us to join this group. We got thrown in with this group of adults, old and young, that we had never met. We were very skeptical, and I think we might have even missed the first meeting. We reluctantly walked into the second dinner on our schedule and just fell in love with it. And I tell you, we have met more fantastic St. James parishioners through Foyers over the past several years, and just love that program so much. And I'm sure I'm looking at a lot of faces on Zoom tonight that have been heavily involved in Foyers, and we just think the world of it. So that's been fantastic.
And once we were confirmed, and it came pretty quickly, we knew we wanted to get involved at St. James. And like Meredith said, children's ministry, youth ministry has always been very important to us. And, one of the first things I did the first year was volunteer for Vacation Church School. And my job was to help hand out snacks. All I had to do was help hand out snacks. And I remember thinking, whoever that year was in charge of snacks, wow, that's such a big job. I could never be in charge of snacks. I just want to help hand out snacks. Well, little did I know, a couple of years later, I'd be in charge of snacks, and a few years later, I'd be in charge of the whole Vacation Church School, and I'd go on to share the Halloween party and the super hot Christmas bags. And the love and fellowship and support I felt at St. James, I stepping out of my comfort zone, and so without even really thinking about it, because I wanted to be a part of this church, and I wanted to make it a great place for my family and my children and my fellow parishioners. And I also loved the work that we did to serve our community. And I've seen, my children, Clayton is now 15. And so he's been on the Delta mission trip 2 or 3 times, and he helps with the rummage sale, and he volunteers in other ways. And even Sally, she's 8, she'll come up and, help with the Sun King 5K or help with the rummage sale. And I love how St. James has brought our whole family together to volunteer for the church and for the community, and that we're passing that on to our children.
Yes. And from snack helper to chairing Vacation Church School, there's lots of opportunity at St. James for everybody. So to talk about some of my involvement and how much I've enjoyed St. James and some things that I've been a part of, probably started off with ushering, and just seeing all the smiling faces coming in and out of church, seeing those different faces leave after they've been just filled with the service and the Eucharist has just been really rewarding. So that's been great. Then, as Leanne mentioned, with our kids getting older, we've been involved with the youth group a lot, and we have started the youth group ski trip recently. So we've gone 3 years now, and I'll tell you, we couldn't do it with a lot of support from you guys. So if you've seen me or Leanne doing all types of fundraising, whether it be selling ferns or selling pork tenderloins or selling, we'll sell you anything to go on a ski trip. So we just want to say thank you. That's been great for these kids. They bond. They get a little bit out of their comfort zone, maybe away from their parents for the first time. They try something, a new activity up on a mountain. It's just gorgeous. You know, we thank God for the beauty when we're out there. So it's just been fantastic.
They taught Guy how to TikTok.
They did. They taught me how to TikTok. I told them that better not go on the internet or we're going to have a problem. So, you know, I've also served on the vestry, which has been very rewarding, labor of love. And then right now I'm serving on the search committee. So just honored to be part of that process as we move forward. And so anyway, this has just been a fantastic, we've really enjoyed our decade here at St. James, and it's given us so much, and we just are so thankful.
And our children, they were, the first time I told them we were going to a front yard Eucharist, both of their faces lit up. And that doesn't always happen with a 15-year-old. So that was, I loved seeing that and how happy they were that day to receive communion and be back, you know, amongst their St. James family. It was amazing. And this past Sunday, I was lucky enough to go and meet Patrick, our new youth minister, and I took him some other youth committee members, and I took him them welcome baskets. And it was just, I had Clayton with me, and he was just so excited to meet Patrick. And Patrick was just amazing. And it just reminded me of, you know, all the hard work we do here at St. James when we're, you know, whether it's, you know, working on a Halloween party, or whether it's, you know, Joe Myers and his amazing ministry with Billy Brumfield House. I mean, the ministries are so many, too many to name, but, you know, finding a new youth minister that we've been on the search for a few years. We've been very lucky. Abram's been great, serving us as a curate. And to find someone as amazing as I believe Patrick is going to be, it's so rewarding and so exciting for all the youth of our church and for Clayton. And it just, you know, that's, you know, that's really the reason why we joined St. James, is for our children and to raise a family. But it has become so much more than that. It really is just, I always tell people, outside of our own house, St. James is the biggest part of our life. It's such a central part of our life. All of you, you know, we are, you know, the reason why we pledge is that, you know, we love the fun parties that we've talked about, and we love the beautiful services. I mean, Easter Sunday is just, you know, when you walk in and you see the flowers and the music, and I mean, you know, Palm Sunday with the bagpipes, and Christmas Eve. It's all, I mean, all of it is just, you know, we're just so thankful for everything that this church has given us, and I can't imagine our lives without it, and it's kind of hard to remember our lives before.
Yeah, we love seeing all these faces tonight. So thank you so much for allowing us to jump on and share some of our gifts and treasures. The gift of gab is what I think I received. So thanks for letting us share some of that. And I'm going to turn it back over to Meredith, and hopefully everybody enjoyed their dinner, and thanks so much.
Good night.
Thank you. I know I speak for everyone who has heard the messages from the Myers and the Wilkinses. I'm getting it plural right. What the spirit of St. James really is, what St. James means to each of us. And, you know, these are two family stories, but I know that we each have our own. And my children feel the same way. They're so excited to come to St. James. We have found such a loving family here. We are going through the highs and lows of life with our church family, and I can't think of our life without it either. And so thank you so much to the Myers and Wilkinses for sharing, for being faithful stewards of what God has given all of you and to everyone on this call who has done that as well. And so just to wrap it up, I do, this is a stewardship dinner. We are living really in unique times, and they do call for unique measures. We just heard obviously about our new youth minister as well as our permanent rector that we're looking. This is such a time of growth and anticipation for our church. We are planning for our future. We're excited about the present. We're excited about connecting with each other now, but we're also really looking forward with such anticipation and excitement to the future. And so we want to set our future and our church family up for success. And when we do renew our pledges to the church, our financial treasures that God has given us, and when we are faithful stewards of that, we are literally investing in the future of this feeling and this spirit for other families and other individuals. And so I just want to reiterate something that Marianne said at the beginning. You know, our church has been so faithful throughout this challenging time. You've been faithful to your pledges, and that really has allowed our church to have the ability to serve not only our fellow church members, but also our greater community. And so thank you for not only pledging in the first place, but also for being faithful to your pledges. That's very, very important to us. And this is meant to be a thank you dinner. And it is also, you know, the official kickoff or start of our stewardship season. And on Sunday, September 13th, it will be our official kickoff, whether we are virtual or in person. We are going to that will be our official kickoff to the stewardship season. And we'd really like to do that with some pledges from hopefully everybody on this call tonight. We really like to be able to start the season strong with pledges from each of you renewing your pledges to St. James again. You will receive a pledge card in the mail very, very soon, and you'll be able to do that if that's something that you feel led to do. And I really do want to really wrap up and stress as we do wrap up and clean our dishes from our tables. We know and we fully understand the challenges that many in our community, many in our church are facing right now, whether that's financial or otherwise. Over the past few years, we have asked for you to consider increasing your pledge, for you to continue your pledge, or keep your pledge the same. Whatever, we've asked a variety of things over the past few years. And this year, what we're really trying to do is ask you to give and grow from wherever you are. That's what we look at in giving and growing. It's just a symbol of growing from where you are right now. As an individual, as a family, what you're able to do. But we do really understand that finances are uncertain for many. And so we are just asking you to prayerfully consider growing from where you are. And so that means, you know, for those who are able to increase their pledges, we would, of course, love that. We would appreciate that so much. For those of you who want to maintain the same pledge, we would, of course, welcome and appreciate that equally. And for those who do feel uncertain and feel you can't pledge as much this year, we completely understand that. We really are just asking that you will make a pledge that reflects your investment that you're able to make right now in the St. James community that we just heard and we all celebrate by being here tonight. Again, the idea is really just being able to plan and set our future in anticipation and excitement to set all of that up for success and budget for all of that. So again, you are going to get some pledge cards very soon in the mail. There are multiple options for you. And again, all we ask is that you prayerfully consider what you've heard tonight from others about what St. James means to them, and also you consider what it means to you and what you can do to help us all as a church live fully into God's grace. So thank you for being here tonight. On behalf of my family, on behalf of our St. James family, we are so appreciative of every single person on this call, those who could be with us tonight, and we are so appreciative of our greater community, those who couldn't join us. Again, we'll be reaching out soon with messages, individual contact to each of you, and thank you again for your time tonight and for this celebration. It was really just what I needed to connect, and I hope it was just what you needed as well. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will be in touch soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Bye. What did Larry?
What's for dessert?
Enjoy seeing everybody.
Enjoy seeing y'all.
Love ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, the prettiest sight I've ever seen lately.
Peace.
I haven't seen anybody lately much anyway. So, how wonderful to be together. Bless you.
Gay, good to see y'all.
Good to see you too.
Hey, friend.
Mwah.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Susie.
Hey, Miss Okra.
Oh,
Okra. On my way over.
There you go.
Bye.
oh, I hate to leave so soon. They're trying to sit around and
Everyone
visit.
hates to be the first to
Hey,
leave.
Ellen.
Oh, Miss Ellen. Oh, bless you. Okay. Bye-bye. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
That was fun. Better than I thought.
What now?
Wasn't it?
Yeah, better than I thought.
Better than I thought.
I'm disappointed in the number.
Yeah. Well, I knew it was low.
Well,
He
yeah, we
they
had
showed
seen
us
that.
23.